Today we're going to be playing with a budget Boros heroic deck, which could potentially be hitting our opponent for 22 trample damage on turn 3, and it doesn't necessarily need any rares. So let's break down the deck list and the strategies we need to win with it. Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got this budget Boros heroic deck, which is built mostly around Illuminator Virtuoso and buffing the creature so that it gets loads and loads of +1 counters on it, really high power, and obviously double strike that it comes with as well. So we're going to go through the deck list. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, so you don't miss out on any future videos like this one. Okay, so the ideal situation for this deck is play Kamano on turn 1. We play Virtuoso on turn 2, which obviously requires the right colours. Virtuoso would come in as a 2-2 because it gets a +1 counter from Kamano. And then on turn 3, if we could put a Monstrous Rage and an Antagonize on Virtuoso, it can get a +1 counter whenever we target it. So it's a 2-2 already. When we put Antagonize on it, it could get an extra 5 power. And then we could put a Monstrous Rage on it, which will give it an extra +4/+2 potentially. So we could hit the opponent for 22 damage on turn 3 if we have the right lands. Now, making sure we have the right lands is kind of tricky, but if that's the perfect draw basically. We need to have some other things that will do similar effects because we might not draw the Virtuoso. So we've got Swift Spear because, you know, mono red, why not? We've got Cacophony Scamp, which can do its damage to the opponent and then it can sacrifice itself and deal that damage to any target. When it dies, it can do damage to any target. So in theory, we can hit the opponent for lots of damage with this, sacrifice it, do that damage again. So it's kind of like double strike, but we only get it once. Or we can just use it to remove something of the opponent's, any creatures we don't like of theirs. We've also got the Picnic Ruiner, which can have double strike if we have a creature with power 4 or greater, which can include itself. So if we do something like put a Monstrous Rage onto the Picnic Ruiner, then it will trigger itself, it will have double strike and trample. And that's the only creatures we've got, and then everything else here is to buff or protect. Lauren's Escape will give something hexproof and indestructible and allow us to scry 1. If we put this on the Virtuoso, it also adds the +1 counter. And we've got Ancestral Anger for an extra power and trample and drawing a card. Blazing Crescendo for an extra +3/+1. And exile top card of our library so that we can play that until the end of our next turn. And Stolen Vitality, which is +3/+1 and trample till the end of turn as well. A bit like Monstrous Rage, but it doesn't keep the token aura around, so it just kind of does that on the first turn. So ideally, we want to get one of these creatures down and just boost it as much as possible with any of these buff spells or protection if we need it. Protection isn't ideal, so we've only got 3 of those. The best thing we can do is just hit one of these really powerful things. Now, the thing that can go wrong with this deck is if the opponent has lots of removal, then our creatures aren't going to stick around. But if they don't, we can kill them on turn 3 or 4 pretty easily, as long as we get the right lands. Now, all these cards here are common and uncommon cards. The only rares that are currently in this deck are in the mana base, and we don't necessarily need them. We've got a Ganjo, which you could take out and put another plains. We've got Sekenzum, which you could take out, another mountain in there. We've got the Battlefield Forge, which does damage to us, but helps us get the right color at the right time. And we've got Sundown Pass, because if we get to turn 3 or 4 and we want to cast a few things, we want to make sure that we have the right lands to be able to do that. And then we've got Cabaretti Courtyard, just a way of getting specifically the white or red whenever we need it. We gain 1 life back, which doesn't necessarily make that much difference, but it does mean that the land comes in tapped, which isn't ideal, but getting the right color is really important. So we're going to see what we can do with this budget deck and see how quickly we can destroy our opponents. The budget deck list will be in the description, so you can check that out if you want to. Let's get on with the games. We've got Swift Spear, we can play it on turn 1. Could go with the Virtuoso or the Picnic Ruiner on turn 2, or just keep protection. We don't need protection to start with. Let's see what the opponent is going to do. Or we could do the mono. Why don't we just go with Kamani first? And then if the opponent can't remove now, which it looks like they don't have any instants to get rid of it, they've given up. Okay. I think they could tell where this was going. Probably. Okay, we've got a similar start again. We're going to go with Kamano, turn 1. Virtuoso can come down on turn 2. If they can't remove it, then we can make it Monstrous. So let's hope there's no removal. That would be pain. Okay, Denick. Not terrible. So we're going to give that to the Virtuoso. We're going to discard the Coffany Scamp, I guess. We're going to try and do as much damage as we can. Let's see if they want to block. Yeah, we can take it out then. It would be, well, let's see. If we put it on the Virtuoso, we could get it up to 7, 8, double strike, doing 16 damage. They'll gain 2 back. So, I'm going to have to put it here. Still not too bad, down to 9 already. 11 with the life gain. Something other than land would be nice. Okay, they've given up. They didn't have the removal. Okay. Okay, no Virtuoso now, but we've got... yeah, we can get Kamano now. We can do the Courtyard if we don't draw another land. Okay. So yeah, we'll go with the Swift Spear. And I guess we will get another mountain. Death Touch is a real pain. Don't have anything that will give first strike. At least not on our turn. Stolen Vitality will give first strike on the opponent's turn. Let's just get another red for now. And what should we do? We could keep Stolen Vitality up in case we need it. Or we could just attack. And you know what? I think I'd rather go as wide as possible here. They might want to attack me to get the poison counters on. If they don't have Death Touch back to block, then we're going to do lots of damage next turn. Might have removal. Not going to block this. We're going to take the damage. I don't care about the poison counters because they could be dead next turn. I think. So we can add 6 power onto the Picnic Ruiner, which obviously going to get rid of. It would have been double strike, so that would have been 16 damage just from the Picnic Ruiner itself. So let's give trample to, doesn't really matter. So that's 9 damage. Go with Stolen Vitality, because it uses up the mana. Okay. One more turn without removal and we've won. A lot of poison from one creature. Another drown. Proliferate. They're going to need more than that. They're going to need at least something to block, but I don't think it's going to matter. See where they block. Okay. Make sure that has trample, and then doesn't matter where we put this. Okay. We're getting there. Okay. Yes. Okay. We're going to remove a non-land and the value 2 or less, which is basically anything. Don't like that. Okay. Well, let's go with the Scamp. They don't know about the Picnic Ruiner. So as far as I know, the Scamp is our only creature, so they might try to remove that. No, it's just a proper old discard deck. Okay. Well, let's... Guess we'll discard Escape. Wow, okay. Don't want to sacrifice just yet. Okay, so that probably means they have some kind of removal. See what they do. Okay, let's try and... Oh, I should have done that before combat. You need to do that before combat with the Picnic Ruiner to give it double strike. Oh yeah. That was a mistake there. Okay, we have nothing left to discard, so at least that's something. So they're going to lose 2 life from that. So we just need 1 good buff spell, and we should win next turn. Okay. Challenge accepted. So we can give Picnic Ruiner. Well, we see what we draw with this. Oh, another Picnic Ruiner. Okay. So if we attack with that, it's going to do 8 damage. 9, 10. I think we might have it here. Even with that misplay earlier on. Do we want to do an extra 1 damage? I'm going to say no. We might want to attack with it again and then do the 1 damage if it dies. Okay. Too good for them. Let's have some removal. Oh, okay, maybe not. Yeah, I'm not going to keep 1 land, especially when we want both colours. So we're going to mulligan this one. Might be our first loss of the day. Not bad after 4 wins, where the longest one was still 3 minutes something. Okay, right, let's mulligan. And this is better, although still not ideal. What do we want to put away? So we're going to Do the courtyard. Mountain. No, picnic runner. I guess we'll put away that for now. We could have put the Virtuoso away, I guess. That could have worked. Boros again. Taking damage, so that might help us out. Okay, they're really taking their time. Can't be that hard. Turn 1. Come on. Something to do. Okay. Okay, do nothing. I'm okay with that as well. They have a play with fire. They're really thinking about whether they should use or not. Come on. Oh, wow. Might be the longest game so far, just based on the opponent doing nothing. Next. Come on. There you go. Okay. They are there. That's good to know. Still not playing anything yet. Well, I'm going to play the other mountain. I'm going to get the Picnic Ruiner in. 3 power creature. Just to be mana efficient, if I play the Swift Spear, could possibly do some damage, but then the mana gets a bit awkward. And I think I'll have to play the Courtyard to get the white. Otherwise the Virtuoso's useless for me. Oh my goodness, opponent, come on! I mean to be impatient, but this deck wins games in 3 minutes, so... Game is taking ages. Okay, you have a Lightning Strike. That's the one thing we're missing from this deck that normal mono-red would have, is that extra reach from Play with Fire, Lightning Strike, anything else that will do opponents damage to the opponent's face, even Stoke the Flames. We don't have any of that, so we have to rely on our creatures. That's probably the biggest weakness with this deck. Oh, there you go, we do have something to do. The biggest weakness is that we need our creatures to survive. If they don't survive, we're not going to win. But so far, it's worked out pretty well. Okay, we've got Sundown Pass, which is even better. Really could do with having an instant. So let's think. We can get the Ruiner and the Swift Spear out. I can get the Virtuoso. Not going to play them before combat because it's not going to matter so much. And I don't know if they'll have a buff spell or anything, but knowing they're playing Virtue of Loyalty, they want as many creatures as possible, so there's a good chance that they might not block. If they kill the Kamano, that's okay. If they don't kill it, it's probably even better. So let's think. We get the Virtuoso. So either way. Between the Virtuoso and the Picnic Ruiner, any one spell that targets the Virtuoso makes it at least a 2/2, so it's equal to the Picnic Ruiner starting out. And it has double strike all the time, whereas Picnic Ruiner needs to have something else powerful or greater to have the double strike. So either way, they have advantages and disadvantages to each of them. Let's see if they have any other Play with Fires. If our creatures start dying... Wait, the Virtue of Courage. So we're playing Courage and Loyalty. Okay, interesting. So, Courage works well with lots of burn spells and non-combat damage, and Loyalty works well with lots of creatures. They're kind of going in different directions. Okay, it's by far the slowest game so far. Come on, I want to attack something. Right, we need something like something that's going to make the Picnic Ruiner 4 power. Maybe something like a... Oh, never mind. Something like a Blazing Crescendo would be nice. So let's play that. Could have played it after combat. I'm thinking they might have another Virtue. Must have something. For 4 mana, they must have something. So, I feel like it's a bit of a trap, and I probably don't want to attack with the Picnic Ruiner this turn. But on the other hand, knowing that next turn they could get down the Virtue of Loyalty if they have just one more land, means that this creature is going to start getting pretty big. So maybe... No, let's run into the trap. Let's see what they've got. If they have a trap, then they're not going to win anyway. If they don't, and they just play the Virtue of Loyalty, then again, there's a good chance we don't win either way. They don't want to lose their creature. Means there's a good chance they've got a land and they just want to play the Loyalty next turn. If they do, we're going to be much wider than them. Kamano is currently on chapter 1, which means if we play our Picnic Ruiner next turn, it gets an extra +1 counter. But I have a feeling the opponent's going to start getting big pretty quickly. So I might just want to play the Picnic Ruiner now, ignore the +1 counter, and get some damage in earlier. If we play that next turn, we might fall behind too fast. The thing with this having Vigilance is they can attack and they can still block, so we need to make sure we're kind of racing them. Big score, okay, hadn't expected that. They have enough mana now, so they could do Loyalty or Courage. And they could play a creature. Not going to be ideal. Loyalty, they have 2 mana left. Could take it out. They have 2 mana left though, so I feel like they might have something. Okay, this is potentially really good. So they still have 2 mana, they could do something. If we give... let's hope that... Well, let's think. If we just attack as it is, they block 1, taking 4, 5, 6, 7. We could play this before combat. Hope they don't have anything to kill a Picnic Ruiner and give it double strike. In which case they're dead anyway. And could go either way. Let's try this way. Okay, they didn't remove it. Oh, they no? Okay. That means both Picnic Ruiners are getting double strike. And there we go, we got there in the end. Okay. 11 minutes that game. So much slower than the other 3-minute games. Right, so yeah, in theory this could work out. the opponent's going first. See what kind of deck they're using. Soldiers? Can we beat soldiers? They're unlikely to have so much removal. So let's go with... Let's get the Scamp down first. And then we can get Virtuoso down next. And we can start pumping it up. Robin's okay. Deal with that. And no blocks. So let's get this down. Let's attack with the Scamp first. Not going to block. And we don't want to proliferate. That extra 1 damage might help us out. So if they can't remove Virtuoso, and if they don't have a Thalia, it should be okay. In the trenches. The creatures get +1/+1. 6 mana, they can exile something. Okay. I'm going to take that damage. See how much damage we can do. Let's go with Crescendo. Let's think about this. So we want to make Virtuoso as big as possible. Let's discard Options. It's going to be too slow. And let's put Monstrous Rage here. Okay. 6 out of 6. Too bad. And we are back to talk about the deck, how things went. So we had 6 games, and that was a straight run of 6 games, no games edited out, and we won all 6 of them. They could have gone either way. Like, in theory, we could have lost something there. And I've lost games with this deck before. It's not, it's not a perfect deck. If the opponent has enough removal, they can kill your Virtuoso when you try to cast, I don't know, Ancestral Anger on it. If they can just, depopulate on turn 4 if you haven't managed to kill them. And yeah, this can not work out sometimes. But we got 6 games that were really quick, and we won all of them. So I'm pretty happy with that. The things we could change in the deck, we could add some other rare creatures, things like, Feldon, possibly, because we don't necessarily need to block. So Feldon can help us find other cards if the opponent blocks. Charming Scoundrel. Is it Charming Scoundrel or Charm Scoundrel? I always forget. Charming Scoundrel. Obviously is a rare, so it helps us with making treasure if we want to make sure we can hit the right lands. Obviously we want to have treasure to get the right colours. Discard a card and draw a card helps fix a hand, and adding a Wicked Roll token onto anything that has double strike is going to do an extra 2 damage each turn. There are some other things you could actually add, which are mostly things that this helps Virtuoso more, but can also help Picnic Ruiner. So Hammerhand can give a creature +1/+1 and haste, and stop the opponent from blocking. One of their creatures can't block. So if you have a Kamano on turn 1, a Picnic Ruiner on turn 2, you do it that fast, the haste doesn't matter, but it will come as a 3/3. Hammerhand will give it an extra +1/+1, so then it's a 4/4 with double strike every turn, and one of the opponent's creatures can't block the turn it comes out, so that can help out. Also, something like Sticky Fingers, if your creature's menace, so if the opponent doesn't have enough creatures to block with, then they can't block your creatures at all. And when you do damage to the opponent, you create a treasure token, and when it dies, you draw a card, so there's a lot of value there with Sticky Fingers. So there's some auras that will help to boost your creatures. Auras on the Virtuoso will trigger the Connive, so it will keep getting stronger. But this is the kind of the build of the deck that I think works best for me. Seems to work out for me. There are some other things actually you might want to add, which are Inferno, Twinferno, not Inferno. So Twinferno is another one that I've used a lot before, which is really good. You can copy an instant or sorcery, and you can give a creature double strike if it doesn't have it already. Obviously, these creatures can get double strike by themselves. But if you have something like a Blazing Crescendo or a Stolen Vitality and you copy that with to Inferno, then you're giving something like +6 that turn. And obviously, if it's a Virtuoso, it can connive again. Or you can just give something double strike if it doesn't have it already. So if you have a really powerful Swift Spear, and you can put Stolen Vitality on that to give it an extra boost, then giving it double strike will do more damage than doing the extra +3. So like if it's a 1/2, Stolen Vitality on it, it has prowess, it becomes a 2/3 with the 3/1, it becomes a 5/4. An extra 3 is not going to, it's only going to make it an 8 with prowess, it would be 9. If you give it double strike, then it will become, was it a 6 and then double strike, do 12 damage. Either way, like, there's things you can do that will be slightly different in this deck. But this build's worked out pretty well for me. And you could probably make this a complete budget build, take out the rare lands and just have some plains, some mountains, and see how it goes. The Cabaretti Courtyard at least helps you fix things a bit. But if you have any rare lands, I would throw them in because it just makes it a little bit more consistent. But anyway, let me know what you think of the deck in the comments below. Normally you see Virtuoso in a kind of white and blue build with lots of protection. This one's much more fast, aggressive, gets those games out of the way very, very quickly. So yeah, so don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks for watching this one to the end, and thank you also to all of my new Patreon supporters. It's really great to have you guys with us. I'm going to have some credits at the end here. They're going to thank you specifically. So yeah, I will see you in the next video.